Good morning, Jen.
Hi, Kevin. How's it going?
Good.
Good.
I heard from Amanda this morning,
Uh-huh.
and she's suffered an injury and is trying to decide whether she's getting treatment.
Oh,
And
gosh.
so, yeah, so she may be late or she may not be able to appear today.
Okay, well, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, me too. Um, and then Paul and I will both be on. He's going to zoom in from the room next door.
Okay, that works.
Yeah,
And,
so that's two of
okay.
us.
Okay, great. Get this going here.
How's
Okay.
how's the weather there?
It's cold. It's like 50. Yesterday's high was about 50.
Wow.
So today's supposed to be like maybe mid 50, and then it's supposed to get nicer. I've
Oh,
heard
okay.
that's what the weather says, but where are you guys at?
Um, we're a block from Union Station.
Oh, okay, in Denver.
Yeah, downtown.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it's been
Cool.
nice. Been eating a lot of different foods, you know.
Ooh, what have you had?
Well, two things that I've had this week. I had a beer made with Rocky Mountain oysters.
Okay.
I know. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me how they do that, but they
No,
did.
we don't have to go there, that's okay.
And then I had octopus yesterday.
Octopus, okay, was that good?
Surprisingly, yes. I was very reluctant, and then I had it, and it actually didn't. I thought it was going to be really rubbery, but it really had the texture of meat. And
Okay.
so I
I've
didn't.
had squid. Is it like squid kind of? I don't
I don't
know.
know. I don't know. I'm not that versed in things, so I don't
I
know.
mean, they're both tentacle animals, so I wonder if they're
Yeah,
similar, you know?
yeah. This was a cross section of a big tentacle, so it was just like almost like a piece of salami, but it was very thinly cut and beautifully prepared.
How fun.
Yeah, and so yeah, I told myself if I was going to be adventurous and come to Denver, then I would be adventurous while in Denver. So far, so good.
I like it.
Yeah, and we're cat sitting too, and there's this lovely little kitty cat around here,
Oh,
super sweet
fun.
and quite a talker, and so you may hear meowing in the background at
Oh,
some.
good. I hope we get to see it.
He's real cute, very affectionate little kitty cat.
So I'll call Mary up and when we get to the budget.
Yes.
Or no, wait, oh no, she's zooming in because she can't really get up the stairs. That's what it is.
Oh, why?
Just in case you guys had questions or anything.
Oh, I gotcha. She can just go to her files.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay.
And
Everyone else
then,
doing okay?
sorry?
Is everyone else doing okay?
Yeah, we met Kasia yesterday, who is the new town administrator assistant.
Oh,
And so so that was fun. She came to the staff meeting and so yeah, she seems really nice and
nice. I didn't know that. You were. Uh-oh.
oh, it's
Okay, I have to move. I have to move rooms from Paul.
technical. Okay, well, I'm gonna run downstairs for a second anyway,
Okay.
too.
You have your headset? That might help.
my brain, it just unleashed this wave of darkness that
It's not-
Hey, Paul. Can you change your label on your screen?
Please talk to me privately. I might be logged in as you.
Jess? Yes. What am I supposed to do with my skin growth? So far, you're the only one who's really participating. So I want it up.
I can just put it in front of my shop.
Well,
She actually has almost like propellers on Rachel.
I don't know that I have the choice.
I was like, because if you want some prime real estate.
What's your theme? What did you
I think she
choose?
has to do it.
You'll
I'm
show
not
me.
using it.
Yeah.
Just see the
Yes.
picture.
Now, did you make new stuff for it, or did you recycle some of the stuff you had?
My granddaughter actually made the skirt.
Yeah. I keep telling Bob, my new hobby is coming your way, Ruth. It's coming. I need to get into the knitting. And the crocheting. You're beautiful.
This is good. This is not the actual finished product, but it's partially there.
Oh, it's cute already. Oh, nice.
See, she's
I love
got,
that braid.
how did you get her?
Is it like a broom in there and stuff?
No, it's 2 pieces of wood.
Jen,
Jen's
hey
not
Jess,
here.
is Jen in there?
No.
Okay, when she gets back, I need her to change me from trimming too hard.
Hey, Sarah.
I'm here for Kevin, so I'm here for Kevin.
Oh, okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
But she really has a little better than that.
Darling.
That was the work in progress. So I'll just put her in front of the shop. In
Okay,
front of my shop.
yes.
Okay, all right.
We did have 5 people sign up to participate, but I have not heard or seen their scarecrows. And it's unfortunate because even some of the business owners who really pushed for it, they're not even participating. But yeah,
Well, and I did think that, my first thought was, okay, good, because since I'm not on 6th Street, that would give me, some presence there. But then I thought, well, with the wind the last 2 days,
oh gosh.
oh my goodness. I looked at it, I thought, but it's like she's got propellers on, so.
Take one.
So, I'm gonna put the scarecrow in front of the shop. I'm the only one that ate one.
The what?
The scarecrow.
Oh, okay.
Take a peek at my office. I have a question for you on a sticker.
Well, I was just looking at
Oh, plants.
all the cobwebs in there.
It's Halloween, you're supposed to go and scare you.
May I suggest to take one of those good chairs, because that
I
bench
just-
gets tired of.
Does it?
I'm just gonna lay down in it. Oh, okay.
That works. Yeah, these early morning meetings. Did you get an agenda? Did you get an agenda?
I did. Oh, I'm probably gonna die. Thanks.
Assuming this is good. Yeah.
It's really working.
Good.
This is what Mary ran, told me your measurement.
Yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, just a little over 100.
For the whole thing, a little over
Yeah.
100?
Well, I mean, there's no dip, so you need to add,
Extra light, okay.
ask them what they needed, like, do they have like 10-20%.
Yeah.
You get to do something like that.
Wonderful. I hope I'm a better instead.
Okay. Morning, Sarah. You said the morning person.
Huh?
You said the morning person.
I was at 4, so.
Really?
Well, they're gonna see the work today. So I anticipated.
Jen,
Yeah.
Kevin, the chairman would like for my name to be changed and I can't do it, I don't think.
Yes, I'll do that for you. Thanks.
He feels that it's insulting to him that I show up that way. And I try to do it, it won't. There we are. Thank you.
Oh, geez, yeah, I got that. So.
But all it goes in my head, so I'm like, he's really so annoyed with that. Which it is.
It is, absolutely. Absolutely true. Gotta go back. Yeah.
Close.
Amanda said she was gonna Zoom too, is she on?
Which steps today? What are the two?
She's on, Amanda, she's on the phone with the doctor. Yeah, she messed up her. She's not a happy camper right now.
No, she's on her shoulder stuff too.
I think she's more
Things
concerned
like-
about the weekend and the activity of, well, because this weekend should be almost as busy as last weekend, so.
And she won't be able to be at her restaurant. Oh my goodness.
All right,
That's her-
folks.
Come on in.
Morning.
Come on in. It is.
It's 8 a.m. on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. So I'd like to call the Georgetown Business Promotion Commission to order. Jen, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Justin Dowd,
Here.
Craig Abrahamson,
Here.
Mary Smith,
Here.
Chairman Kuhar,
Here.
all vote.
Here.
Okay. The Town of Georgetown Business Promotion Commission is an appointed board that enhances the economic climate in Georgetown, Colorado through marketing, events, and community outreach. The commission's goals are to support business license holders and nonprofit organizations to operate successfully and to create a positive experience for visitors. Would you please review the agenda, and I'm calling for an agenda approval, please.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Audience business. Members of the audience will have 5 minutes to present any matter of concern to the commission. No official action may be taken at this time. Those viewing on television may phone in comments to 303-569-2555 extension 7 or use the Zoom application. Do we have any new business owners or operators in the audience today?
We do have one lady, I'm not sure what she's here for, what, I don't know, did you want to speak for audience?
No,
No,
just wanted to listen.
okay, thanks. Guess we don't have anybody.
Okay. New and unfinished business. Strauss Park update. Mr. Hamilton, please.
Good morning. There's a report in your packet, there should be anyway, as of the end of September. There's a few things I'd like to bring to your attention. First off, I'd like to get any feedback that you might have received from the chili cook-off, the condition of the park, and what you saw during the chili cook-off is pretty much the way the park should look for Christmas market this year. We are working to get the capstones put on the fire pit. They're being made up in lines right now. I expect them sometime, to be here sometime this month. The same thing.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Amanda's asking if you can promote her, please.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Also, the stonework on the seat wall is in progress. That'll be done, and the capstone should be on that as well. And that would probably be it for the major visible work in the park. There's a couple of other items I'll get to in a minute, but the only feedback I got walking around was the people that were in the end booth where the counter is. They said it'd be great if there's an electrical outlet on the counter or just below the counter, so they don't have to plug in behind. So I'll go ahead and put that in. That's not that big a deal. It makes sense to do that. Did any of you get any kind of feedback or have any feedback to pass on or observations?
It was great that the fire pit was on and people were around it and it's back and yay you.
Yeah, it works. I mean, and it definitely.
Yeah, I was there all day. Everybody was happy. The emergency shut up of the fire pit was great because we were able to shut it off without having to look for a key.
Yeah, there is no.
Sorry. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that is the way you turn it on and off. That button on the shelter there. There's a shut-off valve, but it's inside that box and you really can't get to it. You have to take the cover off the box. It's intended to be an electric shut-off. Makes it a lot easier. We do have a timer. It has arrived and will get installed, and that would be something we could figure out how we want to run it. But per Craig's suggestion, it will have a Wi-Fi connection, so you should be able to access it from a telephone. At the last meeting, we talked about what the priorities were for the rest of the year, and based on what Parks and Rec and you folks suggested, was do the veneer stone on and cap on the seat wall, which we are going to do. Go ahead and put the parking lot and the plaza lighting in. We're not going to do that this year. That's a lot of money, and we don't want to take it out of the grant money. And then put the salvage flagstone around the fire pit. That may or may not happen, but in meeting with the Board of Selectmen at the meeting back on September 12th, the plan for the rest of the year for the money that we have available was to replace the flagstone sidewalk on Rose Street. So that material is ordered, and I'm working with trying to get finalized quotes for actually doing that work. So that material should be here possibly next week. And then we are talking about the fire pit. The other one was to install a concrete paving between the plaza area and the restroom. That got approved to go do that. I'm having second thoughts that I'm thinking it would be wise to wait until next spring to do that work. My reasoning being, let's see, now that we've got things graded better, and we're gonna do a little bit more grading in the parking lot. Let's see how that area does as far as ice buildup. Because if we find that we get ice buildup in that tunnel, we may want to go ahead and put like an ice melt, an embedded ice melt mat or something, and we'll be able to determine that through the course of the winter. So I'm proposing that we just go ahead and gravel that area with the 1/2 inch pea stone or 1/2 inch gravel like we have in the park. And that should keep it from getting too muddy and stuff like that. I think the surface in the park worked out pretty well. So that's my plan for now, and I'll be bringing the Board of Selectmen up to date on that as well. So really, we're kind of getting wrapped up, except the major work left to be done is putting down that sidewalk on Rose Street. And hopefully that'll be done by the end of October. The other thing, and in your packet, there's a couple of diagrams, option 1 and option 2. It's been suggested, and I wanted to get feedback, that we look at the feasibility and cost of expanding the parking lot and seeing how many more spaces we could get. And we could get, it looks like, depending on how it gets laid out, we could get 4 or 5 more parking spaces in the parking lot. And the trade-off for that would be to remove that pine tree and then dig out that area. The town owns all the way up to the deck on the adjacent apartment building. So that's all town property. What are your thoughts on that?
I personally think that parking lot's too tight as it is, and trying to squeeze 2 or 3 more parking spaces in there on that side and losing that trees.
The cost would be about 20, it's not cheap.
Yeah. I don't see that it's worth it for a parking lot that's already doesn't meet any standards in terms of aisle widths and stuff like that. So that's my 2 cents.
Yet parking is always at a premium, and every additional space has value.
You're not gonna be able to get in and out of those spaces in that corner, I don't think.
You don't think even if it was,
At the end of the day, I think they're gonna be too tight
Well, I think
for anything other than a very small vehicle.
what if we angled it instead with that?
Then you're backing out, then you're ending up backing out of the parking lot.
Is there a way to look at what it would look like to properly space out if we were to add, just kind of reevaluate everything?
I'm not, it's not my forte, but what you see on the diagrams, I believe is, it was done by the architect that did the layout. So I believe they're legitimate parking spaces. They're 9 feet wide and 18 feet deep, those spaces inside the dotted lines. So that, and I don't know, the spacing, it looks like it's probably about 20 feet, about a 20-foot wide aisleway down the middle.
Right, but it's two-way, and a two-way.
Yeah, I agree, it's
Two-way aisle is supposed to be 24, and the parking, in the standard parking space is 19 feet, not 18 feet, so. And I don't know, our code might say 18 feet, but a typical parking space would be 19. So I just, like I said, it's tight as it is, and I think cramming 4 more cars in there is.
I mean, that's a good option, because a lot of times people will back out, turn around, or literally back out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
So.
I personally think it's too much effort and cost for 3 spaces, and that we would be better served to encourage and let people know that there's free parking in a very small town, and to go off of 6th Street further into the neighborhoods to park. as one would do in a new urbanist neighborhood. Instead of
Yeah.
spending the money on 3 spaces.
I agree that the effort to outcome ratio is not.
Yeah, and it costs, it's about $25,000 to do that excavation work. Yeah, it's a lot of money, including the tree removal. Okay, so you're generally, what I'm hearing from Visit Promotions, you're not in favor of it. Is that a fair statement?
If somebody feels strongly the other way, I don't see that. Doesn't sound so. Yeah,
Was that in favor or the comment?
This would, adding more spaces would mesh with our mission statement for this group by encouraging a better visitor experience and the economy. But I do think that the cost, the offset of the cost wouldn't be realized for many years if ever could be measured. I know there will be some pushback on the removal of that tree, although it can be replaced in caliper inches in more appropriate spaces throughout town. One of my bigger concerns is how close you would be excavating to the neighboring property, and would we be creating some drainage issues or some shifting of the ground that would damage that building and just basically be getting into a big mess. So I don't have the answers, I'm just raising questions.
Okay, drainage costs, spaces tight in the parking lot already. In general, we favor the addition of more spaces in town. I mean, that,
we can spend that 20,000 someplace else, probably get better parking spaces. Just kind of makes sense, but yeah.
This
I agree.
also could be part of our wayfinding work, is to inform people to park on town streets and residential areas within a block or two. And so it would cost a lot less to inform people than to do construction.
And I think that actually enhances the visitor experience more than 3 spaces in a very tight lot.
Without question, Paul, because you're only accommodating, let's say 3 drivers. If we create 3 spaces, but you could be accommodating a dozen or more with spaces that are there that people don't know they can use on the streets.
Sounds like we've got consensus.
good. I think I got most of these suggestions down. I think they're really good and helpful, so I appreciate that. I think that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me, anybody? No?
Mr. Hamilton, thanks for your good work.
Thank you.
Okay, on to Marketing and Events Coordinator, Jess Edwards, please.
Last week, it sounds like I dropped the ball a little, forgot to send my notes in, but I have a couple things to review, including one of our goals when I first started was to get on the board of tourism, the Clear Creek County Tourism Board. I have my interview coming up on October 17th. So hopefully that will get the ball rolling and we'll see some results and some push for Georgetown outside of just us pushing us. Our Scarecrow update is right now we do have limited participation. We had a few people to sign up, but unfortunately it seems like only 1 or 2 of the businesses are ready. I'm hoping once more start to get put up, we'll see more participation, but it is unfortunate that the businesses that pushed for this aren't participating, so I think we might learn feedback from last time. An update on our Christmas tree program is I'm still trying to get a hold of Jeremy Jones, but it sounds like we might be able to extend it beyond just the Christmas market and kind of elevate time in the mountains, making it a destination for Christmas. I believe Mary is helping me with that, or you spoke to him, was that correct, Mary?
At the last board meeting,
Yes.
there was a short report, and apparently they've indicated, the fire authority has indicated that they are willing to volunteer and extend for past those 2 weekends that we had targeted last time. So,
Which I am in favor for. My only hesitation would be who would help run that. I would obviously be manning it for the most part, but if we could work on getting some volunteers. I know BPC is super busy during that time, but maybe we can have someone else volunteer in your place. I would greatly appreciate that. And then Mountain Town Magazine, Georgetown will be the featured town next month. So not only I'm working on an article with Dustin and Holly, the one woman who owns it, but we'll also have some ad placements, whether it's for Christmas market, Georgetown as a whole, or I'm passing out that ad between the businesses as well, just so we can get a lot more things on their website, whether it's Microtel and how they won the reward, or how we have, you know, such hardworking women in our force. That was another angle that she was trying to talk about. So we'll get a lot more eyes on Georgetown and hopefully see that earned media have a return. Moving into social media marketing updates, we've been doing pretty well, steady, whether we're getting tagged by big accounts that have over 345K, or we're getting tagged by smaller accounts, we're still getting that brand recognition. We have over 135 new followers on Instagram and 30 on Facebook. However, I would like to maybe look into having 2 separate accounts, one for tourism and visitation, and then another one just for town information. That way, we're still giving it in the right area, but we're not overclogging it all in one feed. I haven't pushed that. I would just love some feedback when you have time. And then the last thing on my list is my conference updates. I had a great time last week in Fort Collins, recognizing tourism throughout the state. Made a lot of really good connections, and one thing that I kind of took back was more of a winter alert system. It was from a crisis communication, but it was about natural disasters. We're like number 5 of natural disasters of the entire country. So whether it's I-70 closures from the snow, I would just like to have kind of a procedure of what information needs to be put, where is it going, and who is the point of contact. Kind of like if we have I-70 closures, go to CDOT, but maybe alternative routes, let the businesses know, let residents know, and if we're able to, let visitors know. Oh, I do have one more update. I connected with Loveland Ski, and not only are they willing to help us out with sponsorship opportunities, ski passes, and fun things like that, but they're now hosting weddings, and they're interested in staying within Clear Creek County. So whether we direct them to the Microtel and staying near the brewery, keeping the family and the participants all together, I think we'll see a really nice return, especially come spring and summer. And that's all I got.
what about your project?
Oh, so I don't have too much going on with it. So with my leadership program, next year I will be presenting at the tourism conference with my class. Typically, when I was talking with them, they're really focused on sustainability, conservation efforts, but with my role, it's really pushing our business promotion. So when we meet in October, it's going to be all 22 of us, and we're going to be able to bounce our ideas around, but it needs to be approved by the town overall before I can get started with anything. It could be something as small as putting up signs for education, or something as big as getting a farmer's market over the summer to really keep people in town while they're on their way in and out. But I would be looking towards BPC come November for feedback and guidance on what's best, not just for my project, but mostly for the town. Myself.
I would like to embarrass Jess for just a moment, if I may. I was at the conference. I was very impressed that her networking ability. If I don't know you yet, I'm not as good at that. She was speaking with everybody at the conference and was known by everybody at the conference before we left. It was very impressive to see, and it was exactly what I had hoped for with her going to this, in that Georgetown got out there even more because we were well represented between our group, a couple other groups, and Jess, and Clear Creek County. So I just wanted to say thank you to her for that. And I wanted the board to be able to know how much of a powerhouse she was in networking and getting the word out there about our town. So thank you, Jess.
Of course.
Developing a reputation already, huh?
Yeah, I was chit-chatting with this woman, just getting tea and coffee, and by the time we went in to go sit down, she was one of the presenting speakers on DEIA initiatives. So I think that's a great connection to have in general, but just throughout getting to know Golden and Frisco, people within our area, and then people throughout the state. It was really great just to make those connections and say this is Georgetown.
Amanda, I see your hand up. You want to go ahead?
Good morning, everyone. Sorry I'm not there in person. Don't drop a really big log on your foot while you're trying to start a fire. Don't recommend that. So I'm running a little slow this morning. Jeff, first off, awesome job at the conference. I did want to come back to the Christmas tree for volunteers. Clear Creek Middle and High School is revamping initiatives for students to volunteer in their communities. And so if you want me to text you a contact, or Mary might have a contact as well. Actually, Mary's contact's probably better than mine, to see if any students want to help out with the Christmas tree sale. It would go towards their volunteer hours.
I would greatly appreciate that.
Mary, do you still have a good contact down there for the counselor's office, or
Well,
should I call Daisha?
the principal,
Yeah, no, honestly, the principal is probably the best bet. There's a
They
couple
have-
locally,
they
I
have a new
know.
counselor, yeah, they have a new counselor, so, but yeah, we can get that information to Jess, and
Absolutely, thank you.
it's worth a shot.
Did Kevin have a hand?
Yes, so I just wanted to make a suggestion for future marketing angles for you. March is Women's History Month, and we have a significant number of women-owned businesses in Georgetown, and including Hotel de Paris, which I don't think people recognize as a women-owned business, since I'm largely the face of it. But it'd be really nice to give some attention to these business owners and operators who are women during that month. So just a suggestion.
Do you know what October is? Museums and Gallery Month.
Hey, yay.
I'll see you guys on Friday. You'll see them come through.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Thanks for paying attention to those things.
Of
It's
course.
also
There's
LGBTQ History Month.
Okay, on to wayfinding and signage. That's me. We're just in limbo right now because it's dependent on the budget. So let's just table wayfinding for this month and go on to budget 2024. And so Mary Sims, are you there?
Yes. Here she goes.
Hi,
I am.
Mary. Good morning. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
I'm still working on preliminary numbers. However, Mary Smith and I talked last week. We made a few more adjustments. And when I got to calculating summaries for your fund, you were still 8,000 to 8,500 over budget with to be in compliance with your fund balance carryover. That could very well change as we get a better handle on the lodging tax. But the initial budget, I think we're going to have to cut that amount from it, and hopefully we'll be able to put things back later in 2024.
Are there any or what would be the short list of the things that we could cut back on? What are the things that we haven't spent money on for the last 3 years that we thought we would?
Let me look real quick.
Because those seem like those would be that would be the place to start.
Off the top of my head, just from writing the budget in a couple years past, I would say advertising is probably the biggest area, but that's hard because it's like kind of like it's an ROI. We need to make money. I mean, we had some like marketing campaigns that were built into this year's budget that we didn't execute. for specifically written out for like vloggers and things like that, but I wouldn't want to take that money from Jess. Those are just things I'm not looking at it, so I can't say specifically, but that's just stuff that comes to mind from writing it.
Yeah, I don't want to hobble Jess. I want to give her the tools that she needs to succeed. Anything else rise to the top?
Well, the three things that I see are, again, media advertising, which we've already cut for 2024 a little bit. Special events, we haven't been spending all the money, but again, that's the same situation. And then the signage piece. About 16,125 to be spent in 2023, and then 30,000, which should be half of the one sign, I think. And then we've got 30,000 for 2024. We could, and I do say temporarily because I do believe we will get this whole lodging tax situation taken care of.
Okay. Even though I've been, in charge of this wayfinding project, it's so hard. It's time sensitive, yet it's not. We're living okay with what's there. However, at the same time, we're neglecting businesses to the north of the traffic circle. But again, I just don't want to take tools away from our new hire. I think the reason those things were underspent was that position was vacant for a while.
Correct. That's a lot of it, but even prior years, you did not expend the amount that you had budgeted for. And again, with the signage, I think that, you'd still have half this year, and we could leave the other half plus a smaller amount extra to do the large sign that you had talked about. And then as we get this lodging tax situated and correct, and we can put it back in, but I just need a place to cut it from initially.
Okay. I'm going to say wayfinding.
Can I comment, please?
What's that?
Can I comment?
Yeah, and Paul has one too.
Mary, when you look at BPC revenues there, you're only looking at 50% of the lodging tax as revenue on our side, correct?
Correct.
So I would suggest, because I'm pretty certain there are no specific projects planned on the affordable housing side of that equation, that it's logical for the selectmen to allocate, if we're short $8,000, instead of cutting legitimate programs on our end that are actually like functional and moving forward, for the sake of having a fund balance on the other side of it for affordable housing that has no projects planned, that we can reallocate that revenue, because that's not dictated by it was not dictated by the ballot question that it had to be 50-50. That's a policy decision for the Board of Selectmen. So that would be my suggestion. We have legitimate projects and legitimate expenditures here that are intended to move the town forward. And it would seem logical to go ahead and use that money for that purpose. So that would be my suggestion, is that we request the Board of Selectmen to allocate that balance to promotions versus leaving it sitting in workforce housing.
And that's a conversation that we can have in our upcoming budget meetings when we're looking not only at BPC's budget and all the other areas, but including our affordable housing plan.
So if we're proposing a budget, that would be my suggestion, is we propose that.
I'm sorry, my audio is like picking up every third word, but what I could what I understood is to transfer some of the money from the workforce housing. Is that what I was hearing? Okay. And I mean, I can bring that up to the board, leave things out of balance right now, or make that adjustment under signage with the stipulation that you are requesting that they look at transferring some of the money out of the workforce housing fund.
And there's other options for that revenue too. I mean, for example, the wayfinding signage thing, I'm a little put out that it's entirely on promotions to pay for that. I mean, that's legitimately a road and bridge expense. That's legitimately, in some cases, a parks expense. And the fact that that entire thing is put on us just because we're driving it is also something that I think could be discussed with the board, because that extra allocation can come out of general fund, it can come out of road and bridge sales tax. There's other places where that $8,000 could come from.
Paul, you had something?
Well, yeah, but I absolutely agree with Craig on all points. And I think when we were voting to suggest that we remove ourselves from the county for marketing tax, I was very clear that marketing expenditure, that we should be finding money elsewhere to support some of the other measures like affordable housing, and not pulling it because people think that marketing is low-hanging fruit. When it's not, because the state of Colorado has seen the results of that in the past, in the 90s when they cut, or 92 when they cut direct marketing, the state went down in visitation revenues, and then the money was put back in. We have it and we're flush with visitation revenues, and we're doing it again. So I agree with Craig on that point. Not that affordable housing isn't one of my focuses professionally and something that I feel strongly about personally. The other thing is, I agree with Craig on the signage, and that I don't know why it all comes out of our budget when it should be R&D and some other groups. I'm agreeing with him on all points, which is fun. No, I'm kidding.
We won't tell.
The other thing I was thinking is if the Board of Selectmen negates that, I think that it's most important that we focus on our marketing with using Jess and taking advantage of having that position and having somebody in it, pushing forward with targeted programs, and that we do pull it from signage temporarily. And if we have to, if in worst case scenario, our BATNA in negotiations would be to temporarily pull it from signage and think of a down and dirty way to help temporarily guide people to the north part of town and figure out a way that we can do, rather than our end goal, which is gorgeous signing, do something that takes people where we want them to go with smaller temporary versions of our signing program. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
I was following you, Paul. So what we could do, like temporary signage, could be a banner that points the businesses out to the north of the traffic circle. That is not ideal, obviously, but it could at least be a Band-Aid, and that's some creative thinking, which I appreciate.
Mary's got her hand up.
Yeah, and just real quick, as one of the businesses that we're talking about pointing out, this is not, quite frankly, I mean, we don't need to drive more people that direction with signage. It's a convenience thing for the visitors. That's got to be the helpful thing. So if a banner does that, then great, but it's not a promotional thing, in my opinion. It's simply a visitor service, making sure that they're aware. I just don't want it to be misconstrued that we're pushing for signage, pushing people to our business, because that's not what it's about. It's a convenience thing for the visitor.
But I also think that encourages more development down there. Not that a sign by itself is going to do it, but it shows that we value the opportunities that we have at that end of town. Mary, we're still in the ballpark though with proceeding on this main sign that we've been talking about for the last several months, getting the down payment on it at 50% this year. And so the order can go through, pay for the rest of it. It's really just the remainder between what, the 16 and the 30, not the additional 15,000 or so that we seem to be putting a lot of conversation into this main sign, and I understand which budget and why is it coming out of BPC and should it come out of BPC? Like, that part aside, we're still talking about being able to move forward on this main entrance gateway sign, correct? Mary?
That's how, yes, I'm sorry, I'm hearing every third word. Yes, and you would still be able to do that even with reducing that line item to balance. But I wanted to just, with Paul's comment, all the signage is not going to come out of BPC's budget. But I encourage you to maybe meet with Parks, maybe get a list together of parking directional signs so we know how much that's going to be to come out of Road and Bridge. The main sign could still be done. We do the deposit this year and the remainder in 2024, you know, as soon as the year turns over. And with that, you know, with the presentation of the draft budget, I can put in the notation that you are asking that the shortfall not come out of your budget, but instead be transferred from workforce housing.
And I'm doing this from memory, but I think that House of Signs said that they would honor that estimate through January 2024. And so we're going to have to make a decision and either pay or not pay that down payment by January 2024.
You can definitely do that. I mean, that money is set aside already and it fits. So
can I make a motion that we allocate the $16,056.01 for the down payment on the custom carved 3-dimensional updated wayfinding sign panel for the welcome sign?
Do we have a
I'll
second?
I'll second that, but can I amend it to say that the down payment's only half of that?
Sure, that would be implied, but go for it.
So the actual expense right now would be
Yes.
8,000.
No, the 16, isn't the 16 the down payment?
No.
Oh, that's the whole sign.
it's
Right,
actually
Janice?
15 something because there was already some.
Oh, they're plus 20, or we got something else down here.
Second
page. So what,
On this, because I would like to know just if, since we're allocating money from workforce housing, and the idea is that there's no projects there yet for the money to go to, right?
But this is already in our budget. This amount, so the 50%, so I stand corrected, so half of that total fee of 20, once it's installed,
20,000
is the deposit. That's already in our budget and we're safe so far with our budget next year to complete this sign. We're talking a budgetary movement, the financial piece at Mary's end, if in fact we need, the lodging tax funds don't come in to make up that shortfall.
They're two separate questions, in other words.
Okay.
So we're not extending ourselves in making this purchase outside of our budget.
So it's a temporary movement of money from workforce housing.
Kind of, sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
And we really have some confidence that that's not going to happen either, because as the additional funds come in, and we're also going to see where there's potential in our existing budget that not all the money is spent from other line items. We've trimmed some back, but we've got 3 months left with some decent money in different campaigns that probably aren't going to happen. I would say with, great confidence that they're not going to happen. And so, but we've got this cushion from the 8,000, and I agree with you, because I feel strongly that we have promised, whether it's a percentage or not, to not touch those funds.
Well, and housing is such a big issue in our community that the visual of moving money from affordable housing to signage is just, the visual, I think, seems a little.
But
rough.
we're not moving
Okay, so that's
housing
what
money
I-
to signage.
Okay.
Right now, the funds are there.
Okay, thank you. That's okay. You should clarify.
But I
So the actual amount is $10,133.95 that Mary and I, by amending our motion, are suggesting we allocate for the down payment to move forward. Kevin?
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, folks.
Are you gonna reach them, Kevin?
What's that, sir?
Are you gonna arrange for all that and work with Mary on
Yes,
execution?
yes, and I'll be in contact with House of Signs and let them know that we're moving forward.
Kevin, can you be the person, our point person, to go and speak with Parks and Rec about figuring out the other portions of the signage and how we want to work together with them, and then find out how we can put other portions of our signage budget onto Road and Bridge with them?
Sure.
Thanks.
Mhm. Is Town Administrator Rick Karuglian present?
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay. Let's move on then. When he comes in, we'll go back to him. I added item number 6, free Wi-Fi in the historic commercial district, simply because we were having that discussion in the past, and then we stopped talking about it. And I find people come into the museum and they're trying to use their phones and they're not being able to find a signal. They're getting frustrated. And so that's sort of my experience from observation. So I know Paul initially brought this up. So Paul, would you give us your updated thoughts on this idea?
We have Wi-Fi available with the library in Library Park. I initially brought it up as a townwide movement, and that was a very long time ago, before cell service was better and prior to other movements. We would have been ahead of everybody else. I think that towns have started moving away from that. Possibly, that I have to do the research again. Personally, I sell Wi-Fi now because of a lack of movement on that, and so I saw a business need. Part of me thinks that it's a great idea at a slow rate. I love that the library, that's one way that we send people to the library in downtown from the visitor center. I would hate to undercut my own business. But I'm selling 750 and not, 10. But what that does lead to is some people who might use a workspace, although day desks aren't my actual gig. So, we have them, but they're not the long-term solution. I'm either way. I think that's something that we should research further. If we're going to do it, we should look into the pros and cons of it. It's a great way to get people downtown. We can look into how we can make it something that, is effective for all businesses. And at the same time, I'll change my model to better hit my client. I have other offerings than just the Wi-Fi. So,
well, in the last month, I had 2 people separately. They both appeared to be professionals on vacation that suddenly got caught up in work situations, and they needed very quickly to get on Wi-Fi to solve some work issue. And they came running to Hotel de Paris Museum, thinking it was a hotel that they could sit in a lobby or a coffee shop or restaurant and do that. I ended up sending them down to John Tomei Library. And so I think you're right. I think there's a solution that exists. It's not town-wide or district-wide, but there is a solution. And it's already being paid for by the library district. So
We
maybe
pay quite a
that's-
bit of money at the library. Sorry. We pay
So
quite a
I'm
bit of money
wondering
at the
if
library
maybe-
district for fast Wi-Fi. And then also it's $20 for fast internet, free coffee and snacks over at the old school in Georgetown. It's a reservation-based thing, but it's very quick to do.
Okay, well, it sounds like there are two solutions then. So maybe we just don't worry about this at the moment.
We just need to advertise it more.
Yeah.
I think those grants have gone. I don't, that's my knee jerk, but I'll look into it for you.
Okay. Anybody else have any observations or opinions about this subject?
I think like you pointed out, we have opportunities here in the town. One supports what the business is at the old school. The other is the free aspect at the library. And it's just a matter of getting the word out to everybody to share that information when someone comes in that panic mode. So it's already available. Let's use that and let's support, the local business at the old school to, that should be our first go if it's a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 thing. So maybe we can make that maybe a card or something, Paul, needs to go in that glass window right outside town hall. And,
I'm on vacation, but we'll have a, I'm gonna have a meeting with my staff right after this. We'll get some kind of poster out all over town. We're about to do a marketing blitz for the old school. We're changing our structure a little bit and how we're doing that. The other thing with that is I'll put on there and I'll probably throw my cell phone on. If I'm here on the weekend, I'm happy to go in early. I'm happy to go in. I live a block away, so half a block really. So I'm happy to, meet with people. But yeah, every day but Sunday, there's Wi-Fi available in this town. And I think some of the coffee shops actually have it.
Okay.
So, and most
I guess
restaurants.
all the restaurants have it too,
Yeah.
If
You know.
they were that professional, they should have been able to figure out where to go.
Yeah, but they were in panic mode. There's the difference.
Well, then I don't think I want that professional panic person.
Even with Wi-Fi though, there's still sometimes issues like this weekend where even when you have Wi-Fi, when there's just this many people trying to connect to our towers and our Wi-Fi, you can't keep up. I couldn't get texts to take people who were on our wait list this weekend. I had people that were like crying because their phones wouldn't work. It was actually kind of, it was just, I was like, there's too many people here. I can't change that.
There is a bandwidth problem from a cellular perspective on a weekend like this.
Absolutely. And at certain times during the week as well. And I know that our credit card machine took forever and it's just a quick, fast, we have 500 over at the visitor center and it just took forever to run through. So
If this is a conversation we do want to carry forward, and I don't know that we need to do it now, bringing in our own fiber, like our own dedicated fiber and running a broadband off of that is not very expensive and is something that we could actually take beyond just a visitor kind of benefit as well. So it's a conversation, maybe we have a couple of us offline and talk about whether it's something we want to bring forward.
It would be so on board to have that.
We have a dedicated fiber feed at Cabin Creek that gets us a gig and it's 100% reliable. We've not gone down except, one time when somebody cut a fiber optic line in Denver, but it doesn't go through the central office here, which is like, I still think there's 20 people in there actually picking up the phone and redirecting our calls by putting little dots in there. But it bypasses that, so it's really reliable, but I don't want to drag that conversation. It is doable though.
I think there's a long-term countywide project going on because I know 2 of our buildings were suggested as hubs.
Well, I think in the short term, it's all about informing visitors about these businesses that can help them. So I think that's a great suggestion, Mary. Thank you very much for that. I saw Rick Karuglian walk into the room. Good morning, Rick. You're on.
Welcome. Good to see everyone. Just came back from Rotary meeting, so it was, my wife spoke, and so it was good to hear a great update about the school, our beloved school in Georgetown. So a couple things, I did, fight the leaf peepers this weekend and went up, Guanella Pass. I wanted to experience it, and it literally was, bumper to bumper from the roundabout all the way to Silverdale. Literally, bumper to bumper. And so, we knew it was gonna be like that, but, you know, hey, we said we did it, we went through it. There's a lot of people in town, and I know we knew that, but I've never seen that many people in town before. So, the leaves are past its peak, Vanilla Pass. I mean, you can still see certain places, but you can tell a lot of the aspens are just bare now. I get calls constantly asking me, they call the town administrator to ask if Vanilla Pass is still, the leaf, can we still come up from Denver? And I'm just like, wow. Okay. So, yes, please come, it's great. Or, yeah, you missed your peak, so.
You can still make it.
So that's that. Second big news is, we hired an assistant administrator. And, we had great candidates. One shined, above the rest, and we are really excited. They start November 6th. And they're looking for a place right now. So it's a female by the name of Kasia Johnston Hart. So excited about that. And then I'll just give you some reviews from staff of what's going on so that you'll be aware. With all the leaf peepers and all this stuff, we are inundated with trash everywhere. And so with one guy going around, it's been tough. And so I noticed that when I was picking up trash, the cans are full, and he's trying his best to get these cans emptied, but it is full, and I know we are aware of that. We're almost at the end now of the lake trail that we're on 22nd Street. That the trail part's finished. The turnaround at the very end is almost done. So Kevin had to fabricate his own concrete culvert right there, because we couldn't find one that actually fit exactly what we're looking for. So he actually had to form one himself, and it's poured, everything's ready, it's just covered, hardening to make sure it's nice, and it's doing whatever it needs to for the concrete. What will come next is we'll put road base, crusher fines and stuff like that on it, and then the trail will be complete, and then we're gonna put a fence, like probably a rail fence between the path and the turnaround, just to have a security so cars don't go onto the trail too. And that will be a no parking, just turnaround. And so we have boulders all the way down the rest of it, for people not to park on that. But it's looking fantastic. Asked Craig to create a parking design, a redesign for the first parking lot, and he's working on it. I know he's been out of town, and he's busy, but Craig's working on a redesign for the parking lot, and a structural assessment for the bridge near Spring Street. So he's gonna get, within the next month or so, he'll have that for us. Let's see what else that would be noteworthy. We're in draft budget season, so I know we've been talking about that. That is something that we're still working on, and probably spend all day Friday with Mary talking through that, trying to finalize and get this thing to work. Event parking grading, you might have noticed that the millings are more, we've removed all the big concrete and big blocks out of it. We're kind of getting ready for Christmas market and having a place that people can park that come into town. So it's grading, smoothing it out, and we'll be spray painting lines in there so people will have nowhere to park in that. So we're getting ready for that.
Are you gonna get rid of the tree cuttings and stumps and crap on the south end of that?
I believe so, because that's been, the whole thing was all that's gonna be cleared out. And then we'll keep the millings on one side until we can determine when we want to move that, if we have to move it. Crosswalks will, for the school at 4th Street and Rose, or Town, I think it's Rose. They're faded you know, we're trying to create a safe place for kids to walk home from school or going before school, after school. On one side, at 415 Rose, we did remove the bushes there and put gravel until we can put the flagstone in to kind of, you know, make that a safe place for the kids to walk. We are looking for the paint colors that were approved by DRC. They wanted like a greenish yellow, like a bright fluorescent color to paint with the crosswalk, so it would be very noticeable and distinct. They're having a hard time finding that color, so they are still working on it. But that's coming soon. We're kind of working and maintaining the snow plows, getting them, you know, geared up because one truck wasn't working right, so they're trying to get it fixed. And but it's a snow truck with a sander on it, and so we're kind of getting that prepped for that, for the snow. We've been checking lights, street lights all around town, just to try to make sure that we've caught all the street lights. I was told all of 6th Street is finished. I've not come out at night to just verify that, but I was told that it's all been checked, and we've had XL come to then change lights. Argentine. We originally were we had planned to put Christmas lights down Argentine, but we had to put outlets in it. So we have ordered for 18 lights to have pole or the Christmas decor on the poles. We went ahead and put outlets on all 38 poles. So, you know, gives us some flexibility of how we're going to do this. And for the years to come, we'll be able to add more decor. So it'll really pop when coming to town. So we've never had that. So we're improving our Christmas environment as we have Christmas market. So it's going to be really pretty. Let's see. That's really the big nuggets that we're working on at the account. So anybody have questions?
Can I have a comment?
Yeah.
I think that'd be great having the lights there so people can see even more from 70 and make the need more to come. So I think with proper advertising, but just that alone will help bring more people in. I'm excited.
Great.
Thanks, Rick. And the last thing on the agenda, fireworks. And so I'm guessing this is Jess Edwards again.
Oh, is it? Okay, hello. So we've been looking at a variety of things, whether it be fireworks, drones, or a light show. Each one has their drawback, each one has a price point. So I think we just need to start having these conversations and be prepared for our budget, but also be prepared for fire bans. If we're at this altitude, we have high winds. Most drone shows will go for about 8 to 10 minutes, if they're even able to. And with the laser show, it would depend on where we put it, because if it's by the lake, you can get a lot of people, it would be amazing, but you can't really have electronics on the lake. But it sounds like we do wanna go ahead and push forward, so I'll get some more concrete numbers and have real stuff to put behind this, but it sounds like fireworks would honestly be the best thing possible, as long as we're not in fire ban.
One of the things that came out of the Board of Selectmen had a retreat a couple of weeks ago, and we'll be reviewing the final report from the facilitator over the next few weeks. But believe it or not, of the priorities and challenges that the board went through several issues, the number one piece that came out was fireworks in a positive way, in an extremely positive way. I mean, it was far outranked all the other, you know, topics that got narrowed down, and just to throw some of the other ones out so that you can, you know, put it in your own perspective. When we narrowed it down, it was drainage, road improvements, ADA issues, economic development, fireworks, the variety of retail, winter recreation options, the loss of the historical ambiance, downtown parking, and I-70 closures. By far, get the emphasis please, fireworks was at the top and blew all the rest of them out. So, you know, unanimously the board was very much behind that, and we know time is of the essence. So I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Well, with that prioritization by the board, I mean, the conversation becomes real simple, because, you know, I've been involved in this conversation for a few years now, and my hesitation with spending too much time in it is I don't want to get 9/10 of the way there and have the board, all due respect, cower to staff. I mean, I've seen it too many times, and it's not worth my volunteer effort, certainly. So if that prioritization says to staff, this is our priority, you will make it happen, then, you know, I'm willing to help spend time and help support Jess in actually going out, seeking a vendor, seeking a strategy for execution. It's worth my time then, where it has not been before.
And the board, and you noticed, when we've had these snippets of conversations within the last, or, you know, unfortunately, within days or months of July 4th, it just doesn't happen because we're too late, which is why we had all agreed to push this conversation, we here in this room, outside of the board retreat, to push this conversation so that we can get ahead of it. And, you know, thankfully Jess has been, you know, doing some research on it. You had an extensive, you know, background on it. And I just wanted to share that the board recognizes that and is in support of that. And we're trying to budget for that with BPC, so.
Go ahead, Paul.
So if we're gonna move with fireworks, and I love fireworks personally, can we do two things? Craig, can you, so that when we're talking about staff who are very important, and our experts as well, can we get all of the information together so that we can combat any discussions about legalities and realities of safety, whether we decide to do them back on the mountain, which I thought was great because it oversaw the whole town got to see them, or if we decide to do them on the lake again, so that we have a full body of information to counterbalance anything that's said to us regarding, again, safety and law, since you're the one that's set up best for that with your experience as a firefighter and engineer.
Yeah, and I have had conversations with Chief Fabian, and I mean, I think we can get there, but it's real important to know that, you know,
well, I think it's awesome. I agree with you, and you know, I don't want to disparage the excuse me, select people, but in that sense, because it was a very convincing argument. I just think that we need to have all of that in writing and ready to go, so that we're protected as well, and that we're not doing anything irresponsible. And then if we can have all of that, I think that we should make our final decision next month, because we're already running out of time. And if we could do that in November, personally, that's how I feel. And I would love to get that moving, and we could start the advertising pretty early in the year that we have fireworks back in Georgetown, you know, with save the date stuff and constant movement. But fabulous. If we can do that, brilliant.
Okay. I have one other thing to throw into this conversation. This coming Friday, October 6th at 9:30 p.m. at the intramural fields at the CSU campus, they're going to have their very first light show. It's by Bright Flight Drone Shows. And it appears that CSU has a drone center. And so, Jess, could you, if you're not aware of that, could you reach out to them and see if there's anything they do for other communities, or if they have any connections that might help us to either include drones or eliminate them as an option?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, just go to colostate.edu, Colorado Drone Show, Air Show 2023.
Wonderful.
I just had a question around the, I guess, staffing or volunteering for fireworks. I think, you know, if I'm remembering this incorrectly, but was there an issue with, like, there weren't enough fireworks technicians, all in addition to us not being able to get fireworks? And basically, if they're a pool, we can start developing people that can kind of be backups if the fire department is really busy. And I don't even know if the fire department can allow volunteers like that.
So Kelly's been clear, he doesn't have the, where we used to do it before, Kelly does not have the people to actually execute the show, and that's been true for a while.
Okay, that's what I remember.
We've executed 2 shows without. I was involved with one of them, I was not involved in the other. I think, you know, we write off any kind of volunteer staffing from the fire authority's perspective. The municipality controls what it chooses to do, and the fire authority obviously gets an opinion in it. As does law enforcement, as does road and bridge, but it's just another department. And I'll work with Jess, but the first phone call is to CIRSA. What are your requirements? You know, what are your criteria? Idaho Springs does it every year, fire ban aside, even during fire ban years, you can shoot fireworks. Idaho Springs does it every year, there's a fire ban, and has yet to actually catch the hillside fire. So anyway, checking with CIRSA is number one. And then now that we've got some level of commitment, it sounds like from the board, reaching out to legitimate vendors and seeing if that's the best route to go, which is just hiring somebody to come up and execute it, which is what Idaho Springs is about. And I think something else for us to consider is if we're a little late in the game getting vendors signed up, considering a July 3rd show instead of a July 4th show is another option as well. Just something to think about. There are communities that do it. And actually, you're not competing directly with other communities shooting their shows on the 4th for both customers as well as vendors. But anyway, I'll work with Jess over the next couple of weeks, and we'll try and have a solid report to you guys by November.
I like that.
May I have a comment? I would say just be aware that sometimes with drone shows, they're either over boasting about their abilities and they'll under deliver. With Vail, I believe they spent about $110,000 on a drone show, and most people said it looked like clip art. So knowing that fireworks are a little bit more favorable, I'll make sure to have a portfolio of everybody's showcase so we can decide if it is entertaining enough to bring to our community. I want to make sure that if we're spending, like one of the quotes was $12,000 for drones, and it's 8 minutes, and it's not so disappointing that we're having, you know, something from like Microsoft 2008. Oh, and the other thing that Craig did mention this past year, since 4th of July was on a Tuesday, we wanted to move it up on that Sunday. That would have brought a lot of people to our market, give something else to deliver. So that's something I do want to keep on our radar, just in case we're not able to execute on the 4th. Still be able to market and bring people. That's it.
Thanks, Mary.
I believe we're up to minutes approval from last month. I hope everybody's had a chance to look at the minutes.
Kevin, can I just throw a couple of quick things out? I just want on people's radar real quick that I know Jess is aware of, because she's helping with, but I want the community more broadly aware, because I would like them to become more broad community events. On October 14th, we're having a fall fest at Cabin Creek. It's kind of a continuation of Oktoberfest to a bit, kind of a bridge to Bighorn Sheep Festival, and it's something that we'd like to have grow over time and become more of a vendor-based kind of event. We will have vendors there this year. I think Sarah, we have a few signed up. But anyway, try and make that, since there's so much activity at the lake, try and enhance that activity at the lake. And then just so vendors can, or retailers, especially downtown, can plan for it. Been working with Mary and Jess and Sarah. We're gonna have a beer festival on the 3rd full weekend of December, following Christmas market downtown at the location of Rue de Noël. I know, I'm getting more French. But anyway, we've invited, we're shooting to have 15 breweries, a couple of food vendors. They'll be in the same tent that we're gonna have set up for Christmas market down here at the Hotel de Paris. And we're hoping that maybe this is that stepping stone to the dreaded 3rd Christmas market weekend that we've always discussed for the last 20 years. And maybe this is a little bit of a foothold to try and make Paul's laugh, and he knows. Paul's laughing.
That's on the 16th. That's just the Saturday.
Right, so we're just doing the Saturday this year. We don't think we've got the traction necessarily for a weekend-long event. But we're hoping to attract 400 or 500 people specifically to the beer festival.
And the name is?
And the name is Hops and Holly. But it's a unique time of year to have a beer festival. We think we'll have some visitors already in town, and we can attract some more too, so.
Okay, let me jump into that beer fest, just so that everyone understands too. Cabin Creek is hosting it, and they've engaged with Hotel de Paris Museum and Historic Georgetown. And it's going to be a nonprofit fundraiser for both of those two organizations, you know, in addition to the beer fest. So this is really, you know, a greater community than just, and I'm not saying just, but just Cabin Creek and the brewers that are participating, you know, countywide brewers and whomever else you've invited. So there's a return to the nonprofits. I just wanted you guys to know that. Thank you, Cabin Creek, on behalf of them.
While we're plugging.
Sure.
I don't know if I've given a report for Mountain Jams. There's a $3,000 investment from the town, I believe. We did 19 different acts, some of which are recognized in the Hall of Fame for their particular arts, including Ballet Folklore, the Ballet Folklorical Group, the Denver Dance, and Hazel Miller. It was 24 different groups total, I believe. And we had 300 and something people for Hazel Miller, 200 and something people for the last one. We ranged in and out visitation on each, and I'll get those total numbers later for people if they want them, between 75 and 120 as a basic average for the walkthrough and stop and enjoy. As far as visitors, we'll get a better, if we do it next year, we'll have a better marketing outreach. And I do think that what it does do is create a lively environment, because we did have some people stay in town. I'm not sure if I gave this report before, stay in town an extra week to see some stuff. However, on the 27th of October at the Old School, we are screening Rocky Horror Picture Show. It'll be limited to 90 people. We will be selling prop kits because of the historic nature of the building. So please check that out. It goes live on Eventbrite now. It's donation based. The 11th of November is the Sheep Festival in Georgetown. That is a large, it started out as promotions, us, the Georgetown Trust and Wildlife. It has moved into a larger group, including the Hotel de Paris Museum. Please come and enjoy that. And November 3rd at the Old School, benefiting the library. This will be the Library Association putting it on. The Old School is a partner in volunteerism, I think. And then and a community group that is Heritage Hops, and both of those, I believe, are the Heritage Hops is from 5 to 9, I believe, and the Rocky Horror is not at midnight. It'll be starting at 6 for beverages and 7 o'clock for the event. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any updates before we do minutes approval?
I move we approve the minutes from our September 6th meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, folks.
Move to adjourn.
Yeah, and look at the time, 9:15.
I know. Let's do this again. Woo.
That's the fastest one in a long time. Okay, thanks for everybody's attendance. Take care.